The morning started like any other on Kepler 442b. Dongsu Park checked his mining equipment and walked toward the drill site. The red sun was rising over the rocky hills. He had been on this planet for 8 months now, 2 years and 4 months, left on his contract. He tried not to think about Earth. The mining colony had 43 people. Most worked the deep mines looking for rare metals. Dongsu fixed the machines when they broke. He liked the quiet work. It kept his mind busy. He was 34 years old and tired of remembering. His daughter Minha had died in a transport crash 3 years ago. She was only 7. His wife blamed him. She said he should have picked her up from school that day. The marriage ended 6 months later. That was why Dongsu came to this distant world. Work was work. Pain was still pain. But at least here he could work without seeing playgrounds and children everywhere. The first sign of trouble was the screaming. Dongsu was under a broken drill when he heard it. Someone was yelling near the main buildings. He crawled out and stood up. His hands were covered in machine oil. The sky was wrong. 3 silver objects hung in the morning air. They were not ships like human ships. These looked like growing crystals. They were beautiful and terrible. They reflected the red sunlight in ways that hurt to look at. "What are those?" asked Jamin, one of the younger miners. He was pointing at the sky with a shaking hand. Dongsu had no answer. In 8 months on this world, they had never seen anything like this. The colony had basic defenses against wild animals. Nothing more. This was supposed to be an empty planet. The crystal ships moved without sound. They came down slowly like falling leaves. But leaves did not carry death. The first energy blast hit the communication tower. It melted into twisted metal in seconds. The second blast destroyed the power plant. Emergency lights came on throughout the colony. "Everyone to the shelters!" shouted someone. Dongsu could not see who. People were running everywhere. He ran toward the main building. Colony manager Wu Jin was trying to get people organized. His face was pale with fear. "Get to the emergency bunkers!" Wu Jin shouted. "This is not a drill. Move now!" But the crystal ships were faster than running people. The aliens came out of their ships like flowing water. Dongsu got his first look at them through a window. They were tall and thin. Their skin looked like blue glass. They moved in ways that seemed impossible, like they were swimming through air instead of walking. They carried weapons that hummed, with energy. When they pointed these weapons at people, the people simply stopped existing. No blood, no screams, just gone. Dongsu watched his friend Ho-seok disappear in a flash of white light. Ho-seok had been running toward the shelter. One moment he was there. The next moment there was only empty ground. The attack was fast and complete. The aliens moved through the colony like they knew exactly where everything was. They destroyed the communication equipment first, then the power systems, then the vehicles. They left the humans with no way to call for help or escape. But they did not just destroy things. They studied them. Dongsu saw one alien examining a human computer. It touched the screen with long fingers. The computer started working in ways computers should not work. Screens showed information in languages that looked like flowing water. These aliens were not just killing, they were learning. Dongsu hid behind a supply shed and tried to think. The main shelters were probably death traps by now. The aliens seemed to know where humans would go, but the old mining tunnels went deep into the ground. Maybe they would not find those. He started moving toward the tunnel entrance. He stayed low and moved from building to building. The aliens were everywhere now. Some were still in their crystal ships. Others walked through the colony like they owned it. That was when he heard the different sound. It was not a human scream. It was higher and more musical, like a bird in pain. It came from the direction of the landing field. Dongsu knew he should keep moving toward the tunnels. Every second outside was dangerous, but something made him turn toward the sound. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the memory of his daughter crying when she was scared. He found the source near a crashed crystal ship. The ship had come down hard. Parts of it were scattered across the rocky ground. Some pieces still glowed with inner light. And next to the largest piece, something small was crying. It was clearly one of the aliens, but it was tiny, no bigger than a human child. Its blue skin was darker than the adults. There were cuts on its arms and legs. Green liquid that might have been blood was leaking from the wounds. The small alien saw Dong-su and tried to crawl away, but it was hurt too badly to move far. It made sounds that were obviously words, but Dong-su could not understand them. For a moment, they just looked at each other. The alien child had large eyes that reflected light like water. Its skin showed patterns of color that moved and changed. Right now, the colors were dark purple and deep red. Even without understanding the language, Dong-su knew those were colors of fear and pain. He should have walked away. These aliens had just murdered his friends. They had destroyed everything he had worked to build over 8 months. They were the enemy. But this one was just a child, and it was hurt and afraid and alone. Dong-su thought of Minha, his daughter, had looked just as frightened the day she broke her arm falling from a tree. She had cried in exactly the same way. The sounds of destruction were getting closer. Adult aliens were moving through the colony, finishing their work. Soon, they would come this way. Dong-su made his choice. He walked slowly toward the alien child. It tried to back away but was too weak. When he got close, he held out his hands palms up, the same way he used to approach scared animals. "I will not hurt you," he said quietly. He did not know if it could understand human words, but maybe it could understand the tone of his voice. The alien child stopped trying to crawl away. Its skin colors shifted to lighter shades, still afraid, but maybe a little less afraid. Dong-su carefully picked up the small alien. It was lighter than a human child would be. Its skin was warm and felt like smooth leather. It made small sounds that might have been words, or might have been crying. "Hana," Dong-su said softly. It was a Korean word meaning one. This child was alone, just like him. The name felt right. He carried Hana toward the mining tunnels as the crystal ships began destroying what was left of the colony. Behind them, the red sun was setting on humanity's most distant outpost. The war had begun. But in the growing darkness, a human engineer carried an alien child toward safety, not knowing that this single act of compassion would someday change the fate of 2 worlds. The mining tunnels were darker than Dong-su remembered. He carried Hana deeper underground, while the sounds of destruction grew quiet above them. The alien child was getting heavier in his arms. Or maybe he was just getting tired. Emergency lights gave off a weak red glow every 50 meters. The tunnels stretched for kilometers under the colony. Dong-su had helped build some of these passages. He knew places where they could hide, places the aliens might not find. Hana made soft sounds as they walked. Her skin colors had changed from dark purple to pale blue. Dong-su hoped that meant she was feeling better. The green blood from her wounds had stopped flowing. That seemed like a good sign. He found a side tunnel that led to an old supply room. The room was small, but it had water pipes and some stored food. Most important, it was far from the main passages. If the aliens came looking, they might miss this place. Dong-su set Hana down on some empty supply boxes. She was so small that she looked like a doll sitting there. Her large eyes watched everything he did. When he moved toward the water pipe, she made worried sounds. "It is okay," he said quietly. "I am not leaving you." He did not know if she understood his words, but she seemed to understand his voice. Her skin shifted to lighter colors when he spoke softly. The water from the pipe was clean and cold. Dong-su filled a metal cup and brought it to Hana. She looked at it suspiciously. Then she touched the water with one finger. Her skin showed swirls of green and yellow. She drank carefully. The way she held the cup with both hands reminded Dong-su of his daughter. Minha used to drink her juice the same way when she was very small. The pain of that memory hit him like a punch. He sat down on a supply box and put his head in his hands. What was he doing? His friends were dead. His home was destroyed. And he was playing nursemaid to an alien child whose people had caused all this death. But when he looked up, Hana was watching him with those big eyes. Her skin showed soft gold colors now. She reached out and touched his hand with her small finger. That touch said more than words could. She was trying to comfort him. This tiny alien was trying to make him feel better. "We need to take care of your wounds," Dong-su said. He found a first aid kit on one of the shelves. Human medical supplies might not work on alien biology. But cuts were cuts. He could at least clean them. Hana did not fight him when he cleaned her wounds. She watched everything he did with curious eyes. The antiseptic made her skin flash bright white for a moment, but then the colors went back to calm blue. When he wrapped bandages around her arms, she touched the white cloth with wonder. She had never seen human medical supplies before. Everything about this situation was new for both of them. They had been in the supply room for 6 hours when they heard footsteps in the main tunnel. Dong-su put his finger to his lips. Hana seemed to understand. She made no sound. Her skin went completely dark, like she was trying to become invisible. The footsteps were too heavy to be human. They made a clicking sound on the tunnel floor. Alien boots or claws, maybe. The sounds moved past their hiding place and continued deeper into the tunnels. When the footsteps faded, Dong-su let himself breathe again. But he knew they were not safe here. The aliens were searching the tunnels. Eventually, they would find this room. They needed to move to a better hiding place. But first, Hana needed to get stronger. She was still hurt and tired. Moving her too soon might make her injuries worse. Dong-su opened a package of emergency rations. The food was meant for humans. He had no idea if it would be safe for an alien to eat, but Hana was clearly hungry. She kept looking at the food package. He opened it carefully and offered her a small piece. She sniffed it first. Then she took a tiny bite. Her skin showed rapid color changes as she tasted it. Yellow and green swirls moved across her arms. She seemed to like the food. She ate small bites and watched Dong-su eat his share. They shared the meal in silence. Just a human and an alien child eating together in a dark underground room. After eating, Hana curled up on a pile of old blankets. Her breathing became slow and steady. The colors on her skin faded to very pale blue. She was sleeping. Dong-su watched her sleep and tried to plan their next move. The colony was probably destroyed by now. The evacuation shuttles might have escaped, but maybe not. The aliens had moved very fast. Even if some humans had escaped, they would not come back, not with those crystal ships controlling the planet. Dong-su and Hana were on their own. He thought about the bigger picture. This attack was not random. The aliens had known exactly where to strike. They had destroyed communications first, then power systems, then transportation. This was a planned invasion, but why? The planet had useful minerals, but nothing that special. There were easier worlds to conquer if the aliens just wanted resources. Maybe they saw humans as a threat. Or maybe humans had built the colony in a place the aliens considered sacred. Without communication, there was no way to know. What Dong-su did know was that Hana was not responsible for any of it. She was just a child who had been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like him. Like all the humans who had died today. He decided they would move in the morning. There was an abandoned mining site about 2 kilometers from here. It had better hiding places and its own water source. If they were careful, they could make it there without being seen. But first he needed to sleep. It had been the longest day of his life. His body was exhausted, and his mind was full of terrible images. The faces of friends who were gone forever. Dong-su found another pile of blankets and lay down near Hana. close enough to protect her if danger came, but not so close that he might accidentally hurt her if he had nightmares. As he was falling, asleep, he felt something touch his hand. Hana had reached out in her sleep. Her small fingers wrapped around one of his fingers, the same way Minha used to hold his hand when she was scared. The touch was warm and trusting. This alien child felt safe with him, even though her people and his people were now enemies, even though they could not speak each other's language, even though the whole universe had gone crazy. In the darkness of the underground room, a human, engineer, and an alien child slept holding hands. Above them, the crystal ships patrolled a conquered world. But down in the tunnels, two lost souls had found each other. Tomorrow would bring new dangers. But tonight, neither of them was alone. 3 days passed in the underground tunnels before they found another survivor. Dongsu was carrying Hana through a narrow passage when he heard human voices, real human voices, not alien sounds. He moved carefully toward the voices. Around a corner, he found 3 people sitting near a small fire. He recognized them immediately. Jiwoo Kim was the colony's security chief. Dr. Kyung-ho Lee ran the medical station. The third person was Tai-jun, a young mining technician. They looked up when Dongsu appeared. Jiwoo reached for her weapon before she saw who it was. "Dongsu," she said with relief. "We thought everyone else was dead." Then she saw what he was carrying. The mood in the tunnel changed instantly. Jiwoo's weapon was back in her hands, pointed at Hana. Kyung-ho stepped backward. Tae-jun made a sound of fear. "What is that thing doing here?" Jiwoo demanded. Her voice was hard and angry. Hana sensed the danger. Her skin went dark purple and she pressed closer to Dongsu. She made small, frightened sounds. "She is just a child," Dongsu said. He kept his voice calm. "She was hurt when I found her. She needs help." "That is one of them," Jiwoo said. Her gun never moved from pointing at Hana. "Her people killed everyone we cared about. They destroyed everything we built." "She did not kill anyone," Dongsu replied. "Look at her. She is smaller than my daughter. Was. She can barely walk." Dr. Kyung-ho moved closer, but carefully. His scientific mind was fighting with his fear and anger. "How do we know it is really a child?" he asked. "Alien biology could be completely different. This could be some kind of weapon." Hana seemed to understand that people were talking about her. She looked from face to face with those large eyes. Her skin showed rapid color changes. Dongsu was learning to read her emotions. Right now she was terrified. "Her name is Hana," Dongsu said. "She has been with me for 3 days. She eats food. She sleeps. She gets scared and happy like any child. She is not a weapon." Jiwoo had lost 12 security officers in the attack. Good people who had trusted her to keep them safe. Her face showed all that pain and anger. "They came here without warning," she said. "They killed people who had never hurt anyone. Women and men who just wanted to do their jobs and go home to their families. And you want me to feel sorry for one of them?" Tae-jun was the youngest of the group. He was only 22 years old. He had joined the mining colony to pay for his sister's medical treatment back on Earth. "Maybe we should kill it quickly," he said. His voice shook. "Before it can signal its people somehow." Hana made a soft crying sound. She could not understand the words, but she understood the tone. She knew people were talking about hurting her. Dongsu felt her small body shaking with fear, the same way Minha used to shake during thunderstorms. "No," he said firmly. "I will not let anyone hurt her." The tension in the tunnel was thick. 4 humans and 1 alien child, all of them scared and angry and lost. The weight of too much death and too much fear pressed down on everyone. Dr. Kyung-ho broke the silence. "Let me examine her," he said. "If she really is just a child, I should be able to tell. If she is something else, we need to know." It was a compromise nobody liked. But it was better than shooting first and asking questions later. Dongsu sat down and let Hana rest on his lap. She did not want to let go of his hand. Kyung-ho approached slowly, the way he might approach a frightened animal. "I need to check your injuries, little one," he said softly. His doctor voice was calm and gentle. Hana looked up at Dongsu. He nodded encouragingly. She slowly let the doctor unwrap the bandages on her arms. Kyung-ho examined her wounds with professional skill. He checked her pulse, looked into her eyes, tested her reflexes. As he worked, his expression changed. "This is definitely a juvenile," he said finally. "The bone structure, the way her circulatory system works, even her behavioral responses. She is young for her species, maybe equivalent to a 6- or 7-year-old human." "That does not change what her people did," Ji-woo said. But her voice was less angry now. "No, it does not," Kyung-ho agreed. "But it does change what we do next." They moved deeper into the tunnel system to find a safer place to hide. The old mining site Dongsu had planned to reach was too far away now. The aliens were patrolling the tunnels more often. Moving as a group would be dangerous. They found a large cave that had been carved out for equipment storage. It had multiple exits and a small underground stream. Most importantly, it was far from the main tunnel network. As they settled in, Hana began to show more of her personality. She was curious about everything the humans did. When Ji-woo cleaned her weapon, Hana watched every movement. When Kyung-ho organized his medical supplies, she pointed at different items and made questioning sounds. "She is trying to learn," Dongsu explained. "She wants to understand us." Taejun was still afraid of her, but his fear was changing into something else. When Hana found some loose rocks and started arranging them in patterns, he could not help but watch. "What is she doing?" he asked. The patterns Hana made were complex and beautiful, geometric shapes that seemed to follow mathematical rules. As she worked, her skin showed gentle waves of color. "I think she is thinking," Kyung-ho said, "or maybe trying to communicate something." After several hours, Hana had created a large pattern on the cave floor. It looked like a map or a diagram. She pointed to different parts of it and made sounds. "She is trying to tell us something important," Dongsu said. "But we do not understand her language." That was when they heard the sound that made everyone freeze. It came from outside the cave, a low humming noise that seemed to vibrate through the rock, then voices speaking in the alien language, words that flowed like water and music. The aliens had found their hiding place. Ji-woo moved to one of the cave exits and looked out carefully. She came back with a grim expression. "6 of them," she whispered. "Adults. They have those energy weapons, and they are moving this way." Hana heard the alien voices and her whole body went rigid. Her skin flashed bright colors in rapid sequence. She was trying to communicate something urgent. Then she did something unexpected. She grabbed Dongsu's hand and pulled him toward the deepest part of the cave, away from all the exits, away from any chance of escape. "What is she doing?" Taejun hissed. Dongsu let Hana lead him. She seemed to know something they did not. Her skin was showing colors he had never seen before. Bright silver mixed with deep gold. She led them to a narrow crack in the cave wall. It was barely wide, enough for a person to squeeze through. But beyond it, Dongsu could see another chamber. Hana pointed to the crack and then to all of them. Her meaning was clear. "Hide here." The alien voices were getting closer. There was no time to argue. One by one, they squeezed through the crack into the hidden chamber. Just as Taejun, the last one through, disappeared into the crack, the aliens entered the main cave. In the darkness of their hiding place, 5 beings waited in silence. 4 humans and 1 alien child who might have just saved all their lives. The hunt was getting closer, but they were still alive, and they were still together. The hidden chamber was smaller than a closet. 5 people pressed together in complete darkness, barely able to breathe. They could hear the aliens searching the main cave just meters away. Alien voices echoed off the stone walls. The language sounded like singing mixed with the sound of flowing water, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Hana was pressed against Dongsu's chest. He could feel her heart beating very fast. Her skin was completely dark now, like she was trying to become invisible. The searching went on for what felt like hours. The aliens moved through every part of the cave. Their footsteps came very close to the crack where the humans were hiding, but they never found the narrow opening. Finally, the voices faded away. The aliens had left to search other areas, but nobody moved for a long time. They waited until they were sure the aliens were really gone. When they finally squeezed back into the main cave, Jiwoo looked at Hana with new respect. "How did she know about that hiding place?" Jiwoo asked. "Maybe her people have better hearing than we do," Kyung-ho suggested. "Or maybe they can sense things we cannot." Dong-su looked down at Hana. She was looking up at him with those large eyes. Her skin was showing gentle blue colors now. She seemed proud of herself. "You saved us," he told her softly. She made happy sounds, and her skin brightened to pale gold. Over the next few days, they began to understand each other better. Hana was clearly trying to learn human language. She listened carefully when they talked. She repeated sounds and tried to copy their words. The breakthrough came when she managed to say, "Dongsu." It did not sound exactly right, but it was close enough. "She said my name," Dongsu said with wonder. Hana seemed excited that he understood. She pointed to him and said his name again. Then she pointed to herself and made a complex sound with lots of flowing syllables. "That must be her real name," Kyung-ho said, "but it is too hard for us to pronounce." "Hana works fine," Dongsu said. "She seems to like it." Dr. Kyung-ho became fascinated with learning about Hana's people. He watched everything she did and took notes on scraps of paper. "Her skin changes show her emotions," he explained to the others. "Dark colors mean fear or sadness. Bright colors mean happiness or excitement. But there are subtle differences I do not understand yet." "What about the patterns?" Jiwoo asked. "Sometimes her skin shows moving shapes, not just colors," Kyung-ho had been wondering about that too. The patterns were complex and seemed to follow rules, like a visual language. "I think she is trying to tell us things with the patterns," he said, "but I cannot read them yet." Hana understood that they were studying her. She seemed to enjoy the attention. When Kyung-ho pointed to different objects and said their names, she tried to repeat the words. When Jiwoo showed her how to use simple tools, she learned quickly. But it was with Tae-jun that something special happened. The young man had been the most afraid of Hana at first. But he was also curious about the mathematical patterns she made with rocks and sticks. One day he sat down beside her and started making his own pattern. Hana watched what he was doing. Then she added to his pattern, changing it into something more complex. Tae-jun added to her changes. Back and forth they went, building something beautiful together. "Look at this," Tae-jun called to the others. "We are talking to each other, not with words, but with math." The pattern they had created together was like nothing any human had ever seen. It had shapes within shapes, all fitting together perfectly. Both human logic and alien thinking had gone into making it. "Mathematics might be universal," Kyung-ho said. "The same rules work everywhere in the universe. It could be a bridge between our species." Through math and simple gestures, they began to learn about Hana's people. She drew pictures in the dirt to show them things. Her people lived in crystal, cities that grew like plants. They had been on this planet for thousands of years. The most important thing they learned was why the aliens had attacked. Using her rock patterns, Hana showed them a planet covered with growing things. Plants and trees and creatures living in harmony. Then she showed the same planet with squares and lines cut through it. The squares represented human buildings and mining operations. They think we are destroying their world, Dong-su said. Hana pointed to the humans and made sounds that seemed sad. Then she pointed to the pictures of environmental damage and made angry sounds. Her people see us as invaders, Jiwoo realized. They think we are ruining their planet. But we did not know they were here, Taejun protested. Our surveys showed this was an empty world. Hana seemed to understand some of what they were saying. She drew more pictures. These showed her people living underground and in hidden places. They had been hiding from humans for months. They were afraid of us, Kyung-ho said. They watched us building our colony and did not know how to make contact. So they decided to kill us instead, Jiwoo said bitterly. Hana heard the anger in Jiwoo's voice. Her skin went dark with sadness. She crawled over to Jiwoo and touched her hand gently. Jiwoo looked down at the small alien. Despite everything that had happened, she found herself touched by Hana's gesture. I know you did not hurt anyone, Jiwoo said softly, but your people killed my friends. Hana seemed to understand the sadness in Jiwoo's voice, even if she could not understand all the words. She made soft sounds that might have been attempts at comfort. Day by day, the communication got better. Hana learned more human words. The humans learned to read some of her skin patterns. They discovered that she was incredibly intelligent. Her young mind absorbed new information like a sponge. But the most surprising discovery came when Kyung-ho was teaching her about human medicine. He was showing her how to clean wounds and use antiseptic. Hana watched carefully, then pointed to herself and made explaining sounds. She went to a corner of the cave and found some plants that grew in the damp earth. Plants the humans had never noticed. She crushed the leaves and mixed them with water from the stream. The mixture she made had a sweet smell and a green color. Hana dipped her finger in it and touched it to a small scratch on her arm. The scratch healed completely in minutes. She knows medicine too, Kyung-ho said with amazement. Her people have healing knowledge we do not understand. Over the following days, Hana taught them about the plants that grew in the tunnels. Which ones were safe to eat? Which ones could heal injuries? Which ones could be used to purify water? She is sharing her people's secrets with us, Dong-su realized. She trusts us with knowledge that could help humans survive on this world. But trust was a dangerous thing in a war zone. Every day brought new sounds of alien patrols in the tunnels. The crystal ships continued to patrol the surface. The aliens were still hunting for human survivors, and somewhere up there, human military forces might be planning their own attacks. If Earth Command learned about the destruction of the colony, they would send warships. The war would get bigger and deadlier. In the middle of all this violence, a small alien child was teaching humans about healing and harmony. She was showing them that her people were not monsters. They were just afraid, but fear and misunderstanding had already started. A war, and wars, once they began, were very hard to stop. On their 10th day in the cave, Hana woke up in the middle of the night. Her skin was flashing urgent patterns of silver and red. She was trying to tell them something important. Something was coming. Something that would change everything. What is it, Hana? Dong-su asked quietly. She pointed toward the cave entrance and made sounds he had never heard before. Sounds that seemed filled with both hope and terror. Outside in the tunnels, they could hear a new kind of footstep. Not the clicking of alien claws, heavy boots, human boots. Help was coming. But Dong-su wondered if that was really good news for any of them. The Earth Defense Force arrived like thunder from the sky. Commander Eugene Choi brought 12 warships and 3,000 soldiers to take back Kepler 442b. The battle above the planet lasted 6 hours. Down in the caves, the survivors felt every explosion. Rocks fell from the ceiling. The underground stream became muddy with debris. Hana pressed close to Dong-su, her skin showing rapid flashes of fear. When the human soldiers finally found them, it had been 2 weeks since the colony was destroyed. The soldiers came through the tunnels with heavy weapons and scanning equipment. Survivors. Located, the squad leader reported into his radio. 4 humans in Sector 7. Jiwoo stood up first. Security Chief Kim reporting. These are colony survivors. The soldiers looked professional and tired. They had been fighting for days to clear the planet of alien forces. When they saw the humans, their faces showed relief. Then they saw Hana, every weapon in the tunnel pointed toward the small alien child. She went completely dark and tried to hide behind Dong-soo. "Step away from the alien," the squad leader ordered. His name tag read Lieutenant Park. No relation to Dong-soo, despite the same family name. "She is just a child," Dong-soo said. He did not move away from Hana. "Sir, that is a hostile alien combatant. Step away immediately." The tension was instant and dangerous. These soldiers had lost friends fighting the crystal ships. They had seen what alien weapons could do to human bodies. To them, Hana was the enemy. "She saved our lives," Jiwoo said firmly. "Multiple times. She is not a combatant." Lieutenant Park looked confused. A security chief was defending an alien. That did not match anything in his training manual. "We need to contact command," he decided. "All survivors will be evacuated to the fleet. The alien will be secured for questioning." "No," Dong-soo said simply. The word hung in the tunnel like an explosion. A civilian was refusing a direct military order during wartime. "Sir, this is not a request," Lieutenant Park said. "That alien is now a prisoner of war. It will be transferred to military custody." Hana could not understand the words, but she understood the tone. These new humans wanted to take her away from Dong-soo. Her skin showed patterns of desperate fear. "She stays with me," Dong-soo said. "She is my responsibility." Dr. Kyung-ho stepped forward. "Lieutenant, I am the colony's chief medical officer. I have been studying this individual for 2 weeks. She is definitely a juvenile. She poses no threat to anyone." "And she has been helping us survive," Tae-jun added. "She taught us which plants are safe to eat. She showed us hiding places we never would have found." Lieutenant Park was getting frustrated. This was supposed to be a simple rescue mission. Find survivors, evacuate them, move on to the next sector. But nothing about this situation was simple. "The alien comes with us," he said finally. "But it stays with the civilians for now. Command will decide what happens next." The evacuation shuttle was crowded with other survivors from different parts of the planet. 47 people out of the original 300 colonists. Most looked at Hana with fear and anger when they saw her. "Why is that thing still alive?" demanded Mrs. Song, whose husband had died in the attack. "It should be dead like everyone else they killed." Other survivors echoed her anger. They had lost family and friends. They wanted revenge, not mercy. But some were curious. They had never seen an alien this close. Hana was clearly just a child, not a warrior. When she hid behind Dong-soo and made frightened sounds, even the angriest survivors felt confused. The fleet flagship was huge. 10,000 crew members working to coordinate the military response. Commander Yoo-jin met with the survivors personally to debrief them about the attack. She was a small woman with intelligent eyes and steel in her voice. She had fought in 3 previous alien conflicts. She knew how to make hard decisions. When she saw Hana, she stopped talking for a long moment. "This is the alien child you reported?" she asked Lieutenant Park. "Yes, Commander. The survivors claim it helped them hide from hostile forces." Yoo-jin studied Hana carefully. The child was staying very close to Dong-soo, clearly afraid of all. The new faces. Her skin showed pale, nervous colors. "It looks harmless enough," Yoo-jin said. "But appearances can be deceiving with alien species." She turned to Dong-soo. "You are the one who found this creature?" "I found her injured after the attack," Dong-soo replied. "She was alone and afraid. I could not leave her to die." "Even after her people killed your friends?" "She did not kill anyone. She is just a child who got caught in a war she did not start." Commander Yu Jin had seen a lot of war. She knew how violence could turn good people into monsters. She also knew how it could reveal the best in people. "My intelligence officers want to question her," Yu Jin said. "We need to understand their language, their technology, their military capabilities." "She is not a source of intelligence," Dong-Su said, firmly. "She is a child who needs protection. Mr. Park, we are fighting for human survival. This alien could provide information that saves thousands of human lives. Surely you understand that?" It was the hardest question Dong-Su had ever been asked. Could he put one child's welfare above the survival of his own species? Was that selfish? Was that wrong? He looked down at Hana. She was watching the conversation with those large eyes. She could not understand the words, but she could feel the tension. Her small hand gripped his finger tightly. "If you want to question her, you do it while she stays with me," Dong-Su said. "She trusts me. She will not cooperate if she feels threatened." Yu Jin considered this. Military protocol said aliens were prisoners, but sometimes protocol had to bend to reality. "We will try it your way," she decided. "But if she proves dangerous, or if she refuses to provide information, the situation will change quickly." The questioning sessions began the next day. Military intelligence brought in their best alien language experts. Dr. So Young Han was a diplomat who specialized in first contact situations. So Young was fascinated by Hana's skin patterns. She had theorized that aliens might use visual communication. Seeing it in person was amazing. "The patterns are definitely language," So Young told Commander Yu Jin. "Complex grammatical structures. This species may be even more intelligent than we suspected." But intelligence made them more dangerous, not less dangerous. Yu Jin was getting pressure from Earth Command to use any means necessary to get information from the alien prisoner. Meanwhile, the war was spreading. More crystal ships had arrived in the system. The aliens were sending reinforcements just like the humans were. What had started as a colonial incident was becoming a major conflict. "We need to understand what they want," So Young argued in a strategy meeting. "If we can communicate with them, maybe we can find a peaceful solution." "They already told us what they want," General Wu replied via video link from Earth. "They want us dead. They killed 300 colonists without warning. There is nothing to negotiate." But So Young had been watching Hana for days. She saw how the child interacted with humans, how she tried to help and comfort them, how she showed genuine affection for Dong-Su. "This child could be our bridge to understanding them," So Young said. "She is learning our language faster than we thought possible. She might be able to help us communicate with adult members of her species. Or she could be manipulating us," General Wu said coldly. "Aliens are not humans. We cannot assume they think like we do, or feel like we do." The debate continued for hours. Military voices wanted to treat Hana as a prisoner and source of intelligence. Diplomatic voices wanted to treat her as a potential ambassador, and civilian voices just wanted to protect a child. The decision would affect not just Hana, but the future of both species. That night, Dong-Su found Commander Yu Jin on the observation deck looking out at the stars. She seemed tired and worried. "Difficult decisions?" he asked. "The most difficult," she replied. "I have to choose between military necessity and moral principle, between human survival and human values." "What does your heart tell you?" Yu Jin smiled sadly. "My heart tells me that child in there is just a child. Innocent and frightened and far from home, but my heart does not command a fleet in wartime." They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. "What if she is the key to ending this war?" Dong-Su asked. "What if protecting her is the most important thing any of us will ever do? And what if she is a weapon designed to make us think?" "Exactly that," Yu Jin replied. "It was an impossible choice. Trust or fear, hope or survival. The fate of two species balanced on the decision of what to do with one small alien child. Tomorrow, Commander Yu Jin would have to choose. The alien fleet arrived like a crystal storm. 50 ships appeared at the edge of the system, their surfaces reflecting starlight in patterns too beautiful for war. But they came armed and ready to fight. Commander Yu-jin received the detection report while she was having breakfast with Hana and Dong-su. The small alien child was learning to use human utensils, concentrating hard on holding a spoon correctly. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Park interrupted. "Priority message from the bridge. Large. Alien force detected at jump point 7. Yu-jin set down her coffee cup. The moment of decision had arrived faster than anyone expected. "How many ships?" she asked. 50 confirmed. More still arriving. They are broadcasting something on multiple frequencies. Hana looked up from her breakfast. Her skin showed rapid color changes. She had heard something the humans could not hear. Her people were calling to her. "She knows they are here," Dong-su observed. Hana stood up on her chair and made sounds toward the ceiling, complex musical tones that seemed to carry meaning. Her skin blazed with patterns of light. "She is trying to communicate with them," Dr. So-young realized. She had arrived minutes after the alert. "The patterns on her skin are more complex than anything we have seen before. Can she reach them from this distance?" Yu-jin asked. "Unknown, but she is definitely trying." The bridge of the flagship was chaos when they arrived. Officers were tracking 50 alien ships moving into attack formation. The human fleet was outnumbered but not outgunned. It would be a devastating battle. "Incoming transmission," the communications officer reported. "Multiple frequencies, unknown language." The alien voices filled the bridge, musical and flowing, but with an undertone of demand. Even without translation, everyone could hear the urgency. Hana listened to the voices and her whole body went rigid. Her skin showed rapid flashes of silver and deep red. She was trying to respond, but could not make herself heard over the distance. "They are looking for her," So-young said. "Listen to the tone. Those are not military commands. Those are parents calling for a lost child. Or enemies demanding the return of a captured spy." General Wu's voice came through the communication link from Earth. Yu-jin looked at the tactical display. 2 fleets facing each other across empty space. Thousands of lives about to be lost in a war that started over. Misunderstanding and fear. "Options?" she asked her senior staff. "We can fight," said Commander Lee of the heavy cruiser squadron. 50-50 chance of winning, but casualties will be massive on both sides." "We can withdraw," said Commander Park of the carrier group. "But that abandons the colony and any remaining survivors." "Or we can try something that has never been attempted before," So-young said quietly. Everyone looked at her. "We let the child talk to them." The bridge fell silent. The idea was so simple and so dangerous that nobody knew how to respond. "Absolutely not," General Wu said from Earth. "That alien child is our only intelligence asset. We will not hand her over to enemy forces." But Yu-jin was looking at Hana. The small alien was pressed against Dong-su, her skin showing colors of fear and desperate hope. She wanted to go home to her family, but she also did not want to leave the humans who had protected her. "What if we do not hand her over?" Yu-jin said slowly. "What if we let her be a bridge between our species?" "Commander, that is extremely risky," Lieutenant Park warned. "Everything is risky now," Yu-jin replied. "Fighting is risky. Retreating is risky. Maybe trusting is our least risky option." She knelt down beside Hana. The child looked up at her with those large, intelligent eyes. "Hana," Yu-jin said gently, "do you want to talk to your family?" Hana nodded eagerly. Her skin brightened with hope. "Can you tell them about us? About how we helped you? About how we are not monsters?" Hana seemed to understand. She touched Yu-jin's hand and made soft sounds. Then she pointed to herself, to the humans around her, and to the stars where her people waited. "Bridge to all stations," Yu-jin announced. "Prepare for first contact protocol. We are going to try something new." The communication setup took an hour. Engineers worked to boost the ship's transmitters and receivers. Dr. So Young prepared translation algorithms. Everyone held their breath as the connection was established. When Hana's voice reached the alien fleet, the response was immediate. The alien ships stopped their attack approach. New voices joined the transmission, sounds of joy and relief that needed no translation. Parents had found their lost child, but Hana did not just tell them she was safe. She told them about Dong-Su carrying her when she was injured, about Dr. Kyung-ho healing her wounds, about Ji-woo protecting her from other survivors who wanted revenge, about Tai-jun teaching her mathematics, about humans sharing their food when they had very little. Her skin blazed with patterns that painted pictures with light, stories of kindness and sacrifice and protection, stories that changed everything. The alien voices changed. The demands became questions. The anger became curiosity. They want to know why, So Young translated as the patterns became clearer. Why humans helped their child when humans had every reason for revenge? Dong-Su stepped forward. Tell them, he said to Hana. Tell them about choice. Hana looked at him with understanding. Her skin showed new patterns. Patterns that seemed to explain the human concept of moral choice, of choosing to do good even when it was hard, of protecting innocence even in the middle of war. The alien fleet held position for 6 hours, while voices talked across the vacuum. Gradually, more human crew members joined the conversation. Ji-woo told them about losing friends but choosing to protect their child anyway. Kyung-ho explained human medicine, and how it could work with alien healing knowledge. Most importantly, Hana served as more than a translator. She was proof that two species could care for each other. That war was not inevitable. That understanding was possible. The breakthrough came when the alien commander spoke directly to Commander Yu-jin. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear. Your species protected our child when you could have used her for revenge. This is not the behavior we expected from destroyers of worlds. We are not destroyers, Yu-jin replied through Hana's translation. We are explorers. We did not know your people lived here. We did not mean to harm your world. But you did harm it. Your machines cut scars in the earth. Your cities blocked ancient migration paths. Then teach us better ways, So Young interjected. Show us how to live on this world without harming it. We can learn. It was not an immediate peace. Wars do not end in single conversations. But it was a beginning. The alien ships did not attack. The human ships did not fire first. Instead, representatives from both fleets met on the planet's surface. In the ruins of the mining colony, two species began to talk instead of fight. Hana stayed with Dong-Su throughout the negotiations. She was too young to be a diplomat, but she was the living proof that cooperation was possible. When talks became heated, both sides looked at her and remembered what they were fighting for. The agreement they reached was simple. Humans would modify their mining operations to work with the planet's natural systems instead of against them. Aliens would share their environmental knowledge to help heal the damage already done. Both species would establish a joint research station to study better ways of living together. Most importantly, they would create programs for cultural exchange. Young humans and young aliens would learn about each other. They would grow up knowing that the other